Welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight. I have our guest today, Eve Storm. She is the CEO of StarPack here in Las Vegas, and I am excited to learn more about you, Eve, and your business journey. As we talked about earlier, the Business Spotlight, number one is to be educational and inspirational to people who are thinking about pursuing entrepreneurship. So, with
Okay.
that being said, Eve, can you talk a little bit about yourself and your business?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. Yes, I'm Eve Storm. My company is StartPack, and we're a family-owned company started in 1997 by my mother and stepfather. Then when my stepfather got stranded in the Arizona desert with his helicopter, he had a cold-took battery, and he was an aeronautical mechanical engineer by degree. So he developed this little unit. And my mother, who was always very entrepreneurial and started lots of businesses, she was like, we should sell these. And so they then describe it as like a hobby gone insane because they went from selling and having one unit in the product line to now we have like 70 in the product, 70 products in the product line. So it's been crazy. And then I came on board full time in 2007 when I was recovering from a cancer thing. Luckily, everything's good. And I was working with a doctorate in clinical psychology and decided to work for the company while I was recovering, and just decided to finish my master's in clinical psychology and work for the company full time. And now I've been on board for 15 years, so I've grown up with the product line. So it's part of my DNA at this point.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so that's kind of how I got into the family business, and now I run the company and own the company.
Yeah, see, and that's something that was embedded, right, at a very young age in being in entrepreneurship, right, with your parents
Yes,
stumbling upon an idea and it turned into
yes,
something crazy, and here we
right,
are today. So,
yeah.
with that being said, Eve, can you talk about a bit, about the peaks, valleys, some of the learnings, since you've taken over in areas of opportunity with the company?
Well, I think in anytime you step out on a limb, anytime you do something new, there's always going to be a certain amount of risk involved. There's
Hmm.
always going to be a scary moment. There's always going to be those moments where you think, gosh, can I do this? Do I have what it takes? Do I have the money to do it? Should I leave my job? Should I not leave my job? I have a family. All of these different things that you want to consider, but and it's important to consider those things because you want to kind of have a plan, but you don't want to over plan to a point where you never actually end up taking the step, where you never actually end up taking the risk. So sometimes if you believe in yourself enough and you ignore the people who don't believe in you, or who are too afraid themselves to do what you want to do and try to discourage you out of their own fear, you just got to go for it. You got to just say, okay, this is scary as hell, but I'm just going to jump. And at some point, I'll figure out how to fly before I hit the ground. And then you make it happen. But I think it's very easy to get paralyzed by the planning process and the thinking process and making sure everything's perfect. Because guess what? Just like raising children, nothing will ever be, there's no perfect ever, there's no perfect time to ever have a kid. There's no perfect time to ever start a new career. Nothing's ever perfect. That's part of being human. So it's taking the situation, making your best estimated guess about the time to do something, and then just jumping. And if you can just push yourself to do that, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. But it starts here. It starts in the mind, and it starts
Mm-hmm.
here and believing in yourself.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And you dropped some really, really good gold there is the mindset, right? Of just
Yes,
get going, and you'll
just
figure
do
the
it.
rest of it out, right? As you start to
Exactly.
go. And then it's also like something you mentioned, right? Is surrounding yourself with some people that are
Yes,
going to embrace you, empower you, and push you, right?
yes, yes.
And the other question I wanted to ask to echo with what you're building from right here is what do you feel, Eve, is most misunderstood about the industry that you're in?
I think like I think, as humans, we always want to qualify things or quantify things. We want to categorize things in some way so that we feel better about the ambiguity that surrounds us on a daily basis, right? We want to
Hmm.
feel like, oh, we're in control because we know this, or we have these skills, so we're fine. Guess what? We don't know as much as we like to think we do. I know it makes us feel safe. I know it makes us feel better to think we're all smart and that we know a lot of stuff, and we do know stuff, but there's always room to learn, right? There's always room to grow. There's always going to be someone out there that can teach you something.
Hmm.
So I was fortunate enough to have a mother and stepfather that could guide me and teach me, and I could learn from, that had accomplished things. So I had examples, I had mentors, in my corner that I could observe from. I could watch, I could listen to, I could go to and seek counsel or advice. But I think it's important to. I think Les Brown, who's a motivational speaker, he talks about surrounding yourself with only quality people, OQP. And you have to do that. If you want to accomplish something, there are going to be a lot of people that will give you 100 million reasons why it won't work,
Hmm.
and it doesn't matter what any of the noise says. What do you believe? in your gut? What does your body tell you? What does your instinct tell you? What idea keeps coming up for you again and again and again? There's a reason it keeps coming up. Stop ignoring it. Listen to your intuition, surround yourself with the right people. And if you don't know how to start, find somebody who has started time after time after time and let them guide you so that you
Mm.
have someone holding your hand so that it doesn't feel so scary. And then your survival instincts will kick in and you'll be able to do it. But you got to do
Yes, yes.
it.
That's the gold right there is
Right?
you got to take that first step,
You
right?
got to do it. It's not going to happen if you don't do it, you know?
Yep, yep. So can you talk about like what keeps you motivated and focused on the goals that you have for, you know, the company?
Well, it's just occurring to me too. I didn't really actually answer your last question. Sorry.
Which
I got
which
a
is
little bit
fine. That was
sidetracked.
good. That was
So
good.
no, so something that's misunderstood about our industry, because we're not just in aviation, we're not just in helicopters and business jets, we're also in the locomotive industry, we're in the mining industry, we're in military, heavy construction, all of that is, people think, oh, I'm gonna get a business jet or I'm gonna get a helicopter and it's gonna be, I'll write it off through the company and it'll be a capital expense or be a tax, deduction or whatever it is. But then there's maintenance. There's different things that have to be done for the aircraft or whatever it is, whatever piece of equipment that you have, so that you get the best quality performance from the unit, right? So what's misunderstood sometimes is the equipment that you need to operate and take care of the asset, whatever that asset is, to take care of the asset that you spend or invested this money into. So that's what people come to us, is because we can help them reduce operating costs, we can help them increase safety, we can help them not get stranded when they fly
Mm.
into the Alaska, tundra somewhere to go ice fishing and they have a cold battery and then they're stuck in the middle of nowhere. So it's just educating people, again, education, to let them know, say, hey, look, this is what we can do. This is how we can help. And when you're ready, let us know. And we're here for you. StarPack will always be there for you. So that's to answer the previous question that I didn't really give an answer to. And the next question you just asked me was what?
Is how do you stay motivated and focus on, the company goals or
Well,
your
I think
personal
it's
goals?
it's you know what the thing is, for me personally, because I can only speak subjectively, but for me, it's not about me. Does that make sense?
Mm.
The company, it's not about what makes me happy. It's not about, I mean, granted, doing a good job makes me happy. Taking care of my customers makes me happy. So that fulfills me on a personal level. But I think to find happiness in anything that you do, the focus can't be on, oh, I've got to do something that just makes me happy. Yes, but there should always be, in my opinion, there should always be a service oriented aspect of whatever it is that you're doing, whatever service, whether you're a tax advisor, whether you're an investment advisor, whether you're a doctor. If you're doing your best and you're investing the time and energy you need to develop whatever skill set you need to have, I think that you can derive personal satisfaction from that. So what keeps me motivated? My employees, making sure that my staff is taken care of, they all have families, making sure they have what they need, making sure my customers get what they need, get the
Mm.
service they need, get their questions answered, get the products that they need at the price that they can afford, considering all these other things to make sure that I'm providing the best service I can provide. So I think that's what motivates me, is wanting to do my best for my staff, and my customers every single day. And by default, then I benefit, because then I think, okay, I did the best. I did the best I could do today. I gave, maybe it was 120% today. Maybe it was 81%. Whatever it was that day, I did my best, and
Right.
that's what keeps me personally motivated, is doing my best and giving my best every day.
See, and that's inspiring right there. And I think that's what
Aw,
what drives a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Is they got to find that purpose and that mission. And
yeah,
that it's customer oriented, it's company oriented, and it's taking care of
right,
your employees, right?
sure,
It,
absolutely,
if you break that down to what you just said, it's you're empowering your employees to do better, right?
yes,
And you figured out that if I take care of my team will take care of my customers.
exactly,
My customers take
exactly,
care of the business, which the business overall takes care of you.
yeah.
So good on you for running that way. I do have another question, and this one's a little bit deeper, but what's one of the biggest challenges that you're currently facing in your role, and how are you tackling it?
I think the biggest challenge that I'm facing, or not, and have been facing, is my stepfather is a little bit older. He's an aeronautical mechanical degree engineer from Berkeley. So, and then he was a commercial airline pilot and a helicopter pilot. So he has a skill set that I've learned a lot from him. And I've spent 15 years hiring, 7 different people to try to come in as a junior engineer to work under him. And people either don't have the ego strength to handle feedback, they don't have the skill set or want to learn the skill set, they want to think they already know everything, or they don't know how to work.
Mm.
So it struck me, it finally dawned on me after 15 years of trying to find somebody to come in and work under him that I'm the solution. So because I know I can trust myself, I know I'm not going to steal my product line and go try to compete with myself like other people have tried to do with us. I'm not going to undermine my product line. I'm going to continue to take care of it. So I'm starting engineering classes in June to get my advanced manufacturing engineering degree so that I can still further support the company and my staff and my customers and relieve my stepdad of a lot of the day-to-day like technical issues or research and development products, that kind of thing, those kinds of projects. So because like he just left for Japan yesterday, so he's gone for a month for vacation. That's the first vacation he's had in like 7 years. So
Mm.
he deserves that. So I have, well, I know probably 70 to 80% of what he knows. I'm missing that last little bit so that I can be a well-rounded technical support individual or product recommendation or product development so that I can handle that, since clearly it's proved to be a challenge to find somebody.
Right. Yeah.
But I
And
think that's probably the biggest challenge. Yeah.
yeah, and we appreciate the honesty because that's real right there, right? Because a lot of CEOs face that same type of
Yeah.
problem where there's a
Yeah.
certain role that can't find the right person. And
Right.
something you just said is something that not a lot of people are willing to do is, hey, I will educate myself. I
Yeah.
will go back to school. I will get this degree. I will figure it out. and
Yes.
and growing, what I talk about a lot too is how big is the network, right? And if we know the right people, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty about this, is that we get to know each other. I
Sure.
might have
Sure.
the right contact for you just by
Yeah.
getting to know you and building that relationship with you. But this is something that is really real, is that we face this a lot
Yeah.
in business owners that we coach, is they can't find that key person. And
Right.
sometimes it is within the team, but it's just exploring and empowering and figuring out like, hey, right now I'll figure this out, but in the meantime, let's see if we can find the candidate, right?
And it's
Now,
amazing. It's amazing too as humans. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's
no, you're
amazing too
good.
as humans how we limit ourselves. Like growing up, I was singer and songwriter, and I always consider myself to be a creative person, poetry and different things. And I pursued singing for many years, made a living at it, but never made it big and whatever. But it's so I never thought of myself as a business person until I got sick. And once I got sick in 2006, I was forced to reevaluate. When you're and I was a person who was healthy from the day I was born, never in the hospital, no surgeries, no broken bones, nothing. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden it's cancer. And we caught it early. So I'm lucky and I'm blessed. And it was, while it was an extremely scary time, it was also a blessing. So, sometimes going through something that you don't know how it's going to turn out, you don't know, the first year we didn't know if I was going to be alive in a year or not. So, those types of things really, really, if you allow them, they really give you an opportunity to reassess, what are my values? What's important to me? What do I want to do? How do I
Mm.
want to spend my time? Who do I want to be? And that's when I started working for the company. So I never would have, if you'd have told me 20 years ago, oh, you're going to be a business person, I thought, oh, I'll be a psychologist, but I'm not going to be, I don't have, I don't have a business mind, all that. Well, turns out I actually do, but I didn't think I did based upon childhood or whatever else, thinking, well, I'm only good at this, or I'm only good at that. We're as good as we want to be at whatever it is we can do if we
Right.
choose to. But again, it's facing your fear, not avoiding it, and just going through it and saying, well, let's just see how this goes and let's come out and let's do our best and hope we come out okay on the other side. And 9.99 times out of 10, you will. You just don't think you can because you haven't done it yet. So that's, being afraid because you don't know if you can do something is, I think, one of the biggest obstacles most people face without even really realizing it. Because they've been told, oh, you're good at this, you're good at that, or you can't do this, you can't do that. No, it's all noise. It's all noise. Let it go. Like, let other people's opinions of who they think you should be are, and be who you think you should be.
Yeah, 100%. It's all about the mindset, right? And you just said
1,000%.
something that resonates in what we teach a lot of clients is fear, right?
Yeah.
The fear is the false expectation of appearing real. You
Yes.
don't know unless you try. You're never gonna
Right.
know unless you break that barrier.
Yep.
And you have, beaten cancer, and now you're tackling on the CEO role, which leads to my next question. Like, you teed this up perfectly, but as we're getting out of COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID was an interesting time because it shut down the world, right?
Mm,
But along this journey,
yeah.
Eve, what have you personally learned about yourself?
Well, we are very blessed. We supply the military, we supply police departments, fire and rescue, air medical companies. So we were considered an essential business. So we,
Hmm.
we were open the whole time. What I did do though is I launched right before in the summer of 19, before COVID hit, beginning of 20. I launched a new website with a new SEO campaign, which drove traffic up to our website 267%. So I think that put us in a position, I'm always saying, and when the economy, fell off a cliff in 2007 and 8, I took a pay cut and increased, I gave all of my staff their raises. I took a pay cut and I doubled my advertising budget basically,
Mm.
because the worst thing you want to do when the economy is falling apart is disappear on people. You don't want the psychological confidence that your customers have in you to dissipate. So it's always, if there is a dilemma, that kind of thing going on, I just increased visibility. Since we couldn't do trade shows, we did more and more online, more this, more that, more blogs, more all kinds of stuff. Print magazines, different things, just to be out there and be visible. And that's why we grew every year during COVID and have still grown, knock wood. Because I'm always looking for, okay, what can we do? You do something good and you get a little bit of success, or you do something great, that's awesome. You don't stay there. You don't pat yourself. You don't waste too long to say, okay, good job, and move on. I think people get very comfortable saying, oh, look what we've done, That's great. Yesterday, what are you doing today? What are you
Ooh.
going to do tomorrow? What's the plan for next month? So it's always, how do we improve? What can we offer? How can we better serve our customers? You've always got to be moving forward. You can't stagnate. Stagnation
Mm.
in a company or in a person always leads to destruction. So
Mhm.
you're either moving forward or moving backwards, but energy cannot just stand still. It has to be moving in some way. So always be moving forward, even if it's just a tiny bit, always be moving forward.
Yeah, that right there is your mic drop.
Mic drop.
Mm. That was really
That's
good,
very big
Eve.
of you.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think you realize all the information that you've given towards the viewers and what they're going to get
Oh,
out of this. Very,
okay.
very inspiring, very good.
All right. Hopefully somebody
And
watches it. So yay.
yeah, yeah. Like as business coaches, we work with a lot of smart and talented people who are really, really
Yeah.
good at what they do. We're talking about
Yeah.
doctors, lawyers, architects,
Sure.
engineers, like you guys, right? Who want to grow and learn how to expand. Some are at
Yeah.
that stage of delegation and they're looking to bring on the right talent to do the
Right.
right job at the best seat possible, right?
Right.
That's
Right.
where us as coaches are able to guide owners and other CEOs. And you talked about how do we strive to be better, right?
Yes.
And that's where we really really get to shine in working with talented people like yourself is it the ones that are looking to grow, learn, and do the work. That's the
Yeah.
ideal client that we can best help and serve
Sure. Sure.
with teaching them the ropes.
Yep.
So as we wrap up today's business spotlight, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Are there any current offers that you guys are offering for people who are looking to get in touch with your company?
Yeah, we always have things going on. I mean, we're available Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 4 Pacific Standard Time. We're just, if you're in the construction industry, if the mining industry, if you're in an isolated location and you need to keep your engines running all the time, if you have a helicopter, a business jet, or the locomotive industry, we have, any electrically started engine we can service, we can start. We also have power supplies for powering up electrical systems. We've worked with NASA, we work with the US Marines, we've sold to over 130 countries, lots of military agencies all over the world, United Nations Armed Forces, Chilean Air Force, Japanese Ministry of Defense. I mean, we work hard, we're everywhere. So you can reach us, startpack.com. And even if you just need some advice about how to take care of your helicopter or your business jet or whatever, if you just need some recommendations about what to do, we'll do whatever we can to help you or point you in the right direction with one of our associates. So yeah, startpack.com.
Well, Eve, there's one final question that I do
Okay.
want to ask.
Ooh.
What is one question that I did not ask that you wish I did ask?
One question that you didn't ask that I wish you'd asked. Okay, well, I'm gonna say not bra size. I'm just kidding. What maybe ask, have I read any books lately? Have I read
Hmm.
anything that would help the company? And I would say yes. Like I just finished Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning.
Mhm.
which talks about finding meaning even through the difficult times. So, when you have your own company, when you have your own business, obviously there are going to be character building or challenging moments that you have to navigate, right? Rough waters that you have to sail through. So, I'm always reading something. I'm always trying to increase my knowledge base, whether it's managing my own emotions about challenges or whatever. Right now, I'm reading Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk,
Mm.
just to manage myself better in stressful situations, because when you run a company, obviously there are going to be fires that have to be put out, there are going to be employees that have to be managed, there are going to be customers that have to be managed. So I think that would be it. Like, have I read anything that would help the company? Because I'm always reading something. Maybe that question. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 and that's good. If we're not learning and growing, we're dying, right? And
Exactly.
as a leader, you have to constantly be learning something new. You constantly have to learn,
Right.
whether it's personal development, business, and it's the different areas where we know we need help in,
Of
and
course.
growing in those parts is what makes us the leaders that we are in our communities.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think to be a leader, you have to be a servant. I think that's, if you want to be a successful leader, you have to have a servant mindset.
Mm,
So I'm not going to ask any of my team to do something I wouldn't be willing to do. Like, if there's a piece of trash on the floor in the shop, I'm going to pick it up. I'm not going to say, "Oh, hey, can you pick this up?" No, I'm right there. They're busy doing stuff. I pick it up. So I'm really the servant of the company. So people think, "Oh, you're the boss." I was like, "Yeah, but not. That's not really how I see it. I see it as like, I'm the servant to my team, and I'm a servant to my customers. I'm here to serve them. I'm here to take care of them, not the other
right,
way around."
right.
That's my opinion.
That's a thing I learned very early on in the Marine Corps is you got to
Mm,
learn to follow to lead. And if you
yes,
can't learn to follow, you can never lead.
yes, exactly. Or
So
you're going to lead the wrong way. You're going to lead people off of ledge.
yeah, yeah, right. Well, Eve, I do appreciate you. I thank you for
Thank
taking the time
you.
to being on this episode of the Business Spotlight. This was a really good interview, and I look forward to
Thank
connecting with
you.
you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You have a great day.